Hello and welcome to Pictorial Planet. My name's John Finch. Today we're going to be looking at how much liquid we should be putting inside our developing tank. It sounds too simple, doesn't it? We look underneath the tank and it's usually written there. But that's not the amount we should be using. Let's see what I mean. So first of all, let's just have a look at the developing tank. So I'm going to test this developing tank. It's a 35mm Patterson developing tank. I think it's called the Universal. And if we look underneath the tank, we can see that it says it takes 290 milliliters for a 35mm film. So that's the amount we should use, right? No, it's not. Well, first of all, let's just think about this. To actually use 290 milliliters, the mathematics to add the amount of developer would be difficult. When I'm diluting my developers, I'm going to find it hard to work out what 290 milliliters is. So that's the first problem I've got. The second problem is that might not be enough. Let's see why. And to test this and to find out how much, we really need to put all our parts in. So we take our spool. Now this is the spool that I usually use for my 35mm films. And this is the center part that goes in, and that's required. You've got to use that or light will get through the top of the tank. So always remember to use this. Now I have other spools. Let me see if I can pull one down. Here's another spool that is 35mm. These two spools are different. So it'll take different amounts of developer to cover the film adequately depending on the spool. So that's the first thing. Test this with the spool that you'll use for your films. So I've put it together and I'm now going to put these two parts inside of the tank. So now I can find out how much liquid it takes to cover the spool. So let's first of all, I've got a graduate here, an accurate graduate. Let's measure 290, which is what it says it needs. We'll just put plain water in for this test. Let's have a look at this. I want to be quite accurate to show you this. So it's a little bit more. And it's a little bit too much. So there's no 290 marked on this, but I think I'm pretty accurate there with that. So let's put that 290 in. There's 290. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but that's not fully covering the spool. It's actually only just come up to the bottom of the top of the spool. Can you see that the liquid isn't covering the spool? So if you were to use 290 milliliters with this developing tank and this spool, it wouldn't be enough. You'd end up probably with less developed areas around the top of the film, which of course is laying on its side, so it will be around one of the edges of the film would be less developed. Worse than that, you're going to get bubbles being caught up in the spool, and you're going to see what's called air bells on one side of your film. So 290 is nowhere near enough for this developing tank. Let's actually add enough liquid to find out how much properly covers. Okay, so I've added a little bit and that covers the spool now. So now my film would be immersed in the developer and the fix and the stop, of course, but it's still not enough. It's just covering the spool, and just isn't enough because air bells will still form. Bubbles will get caught in and around that area, and even though you tap it to try to get them out, there's going to be a lot of froth around the top of this, and you're probably going to get some air bells on your precious negatives. So that's not enough either. Let's continue and add some more liquid. And what I've done is I've added liquid to about a centimetre, and it's so hard to show you on this, I'm very sorry, but it's about a centimetre above the spool. And that is around about enough. So let's pour that out and find out how much that is. So I'm looking now at my graduate, and I'm just going to hold it up so that I can see it accurate. That's about 375 milliliters. That's too difficult to do the maths with when we're diluting our developers. So, you know, I would use 400 milliliters to develop a film. That's 400 now, to develop a film inside this developing tank. That is 400. There's about 1.5 centimeters above the spore. That's a good amount. 400 is easy to work out my dilutions for my different developers, so that's also helpful. So I hope that helps you all. That is how much developer you need to put in your tanks, and I hope you go into your dark rooms or your bathrooms or your kitchen and get your tank out, put it all together so that it's correctly ready for a film to go in, and then pop it in, find out how much liquid covers it by at least 1 centimeter. Measure it in a graduate, the graduate that you use for your developer, and work out how much you use. Always err on the safe side, round it up a little bit to make it simple for the mathematics for diluting your developer, and you've got the right answer to the question. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I want to tell you that coming up is the Battle of the Giants. I'm working on some videos where I'm going to test the best developers against each other. The Battle of the Giants, the battle of the greatest developers. So subscribe if you want to see that. It's going to be a multi-part YouTube video series. I hope you're excited about that, and goodbye for now. I'll see you again soon.